Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a Thai comedy youth drama film called Ugly Duckling Series, Don T. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, because this story takes some emotional turns. Mainam is a painfully shy and deeply insecure teenage girl who hides her face inside a box every single day. She suffers from a rare psychological condition that makes her despise her own reflection. In her mind, she's the ugliest person alive and must keep her face hidden from everyone. She hasn't looked in a mirror for over 3 years and hasn't stepped outside during that time either. She lives with her older brother Plawan and their father Mr. Bon, who constantly worry about her. One evening, Plawan comes home with a scraped elbow and confesses to shoplifting. To escape punishment, he cruelly shifts the spotlight to his sister, calling her a total psycho because of her condition. His words hit Mainam like a punch. Her chest tightens and panic takes over. Mr. Bon, used to her anxiety attacks, gently helps her breathe again until she calms down. Mainam begins narrating her life story through her anonymous blog, explaining how she became an ugly duckling for the first 13 years of her life. She was just like any other girl, social, confident, and full of life. But everything changed in middle school when she fell head over heels for the most handsome boy in class. One day, overwhelmed by her feelings, she confessed her love to him in front of everyone. But instead of kindness, she was met with cruelty. The boy threw her gift to the ground and called her the ugliest girl ever. He mocked her, telling her to wear a bag on her head because her face was a jump scare. His classmates joined in, laughing and calling her ugly, following his lead like a cruel chorus. That moment broke her spirit. Humiliated and traumatized, Mainam shut herself off from the world. She refused to return to school. Mr. Bon tried everything to convince her, but when he realized she was suffering from a real psychological wound, he allowed her to be homeschooled. For a year, she avoided mirrors and the outside world completely, until one day, while trying to retrieve a stuck balloon outside her house, a stranger approached to help. Panicking, Mainam covered her face with a paper bag and something unexpected happened. She felt safe. The bag became her emotional shield, her comfort. She said it felt like finding her soulmate. From that day on, she never showed her face to anyone again. Eventually, the fragile paper bag evolved into a sturdy box, and she's kept it ever since. Sometimes her family catches a glimpse of her face, but she avoids even that. She hardly ever allows herself to look in a mirror. Most of her time is spent online, anonymously chatting with strangers where no one can see each other's faces. It's the only place she feels accepted. The next day, Mr. Bon visits her doctor, desperate for a quick fix. But the doctor explains that Mainam isn't sick. She suffers from a condition similar to hikikomori, commonly seen in Japan, when adolescents or young adults isolate themselves in their rooms for months or years, avoiding all social contact. Luckily, her case isn't severe. She still communicates with her family, which means she hasn't completely shut the world out. The doctor warns that fear is her biggest obstacle and urges Mr. Bon to help her return to society before she cuts everyone off completely. At dinner that night, Mainam eats through a straw, refusing to remove her box. Mr. Bon speaks in a serious tone, asking both children to listen carefully. The siblings jump to wild conclusions, guessing that he either has cancer or is about to come out as gay. He firmly denies both and announces his real plan. Mainam will start going to school with Plawan tomorrow. Mainam is stunned. She thinks it's a joke, but her father doesn't budge. For the first time, he's completely firm about his decision. Even Plawan is surprised by his father's determination. Furious and terrified, Mainam yells that she hates him and runs to her room. She spends the night crying, convinced that everyone will make fun of her box. Still, she'd rather face mockery for the box than be called ugly again. To lift her spirits, Plawan brings her a brand new box to replace the worn-out one and offers to decorate it with her. She removes the old box for the first time, revealing a face that is anything but ugly. Her brother promises to stand by her no matter what, though his words don't erase her fear. Together, they decorate the new box, turning it into her armor for the day ahead. The next morning, Mr. Bon drives them both to school. After Plawan gets out, Mainam begins hyperventilating under the box. Mr. Bon quickly plays calming music and encourages her gently. She apologizes for her harsh words the previous night and thanks him for trying to help. The moment she walks away, Mr. Bond breaks down in tears, overwhelmed with worry for his daughter. Maynham gathers her courage and steps into the school building, holding her breath. Her bright, oversized box immediately draws attention. Students whisper, point, and laugh, their reactions pulling her back into the painful memory of her humiliation years ago. She grows dizzy and nearly collapses, but just then, a boy in a helmet steps forward to help. He introduces himself as Minten, and his presence gives her a strange sense of relief. But panic gets the better of her, and she runs away. In the process, she bumps into the school's most popular guy, Zero. Zero and his group circle her curiously, demanding that she remove the box. When she refuses, they try to force it off, surrounding her like predators. Suddenly, Minten intervenes, ripping off his helmet to reveal his face. The tension between Zero and Minten is electric. They lock eyes like rivals and decide to settle their conflict outside. Minten firmly takes Maynham by the hand and leads her away, becoming her unexpected protector. In the next scene, Maynham stands nervously at the front of the classroom, her box drawing every pair of eyes toward her. The teacher, who's already been informed about her situation, kindly asks the students to respect her privacy. But teenagers being teenagers, the class can't resist teasing her. They start urging her to take off the box, their voices echoing like a cruel chant. Among the students is Minten, and he's furious at their behavior. Maynham quietly walks to the very last seat, keeping her head down as whispers and giggles surround her. During lunch break, she wanders into the cafeteria, hoping to find her brother Plowin, but he's nowhere in sight. All around her, students stare, point, and gossip, as if she's some kind of spectacle. Two guys spot her eating with the box still on and decide to torment her by trying to pull it off. The entire cafeteria watches, but instead of helping, everyone laughs. Humiliated, Maynham abandons her lunch and runs outside in tears. Out in the playground, she breaks down alone, until Minten suddenly appears beside her. He's wearing his helmet again, and she instantly assumes he's mocking her. But he calmly explains that he simply likes how he looks in it. Then, in a kind gesture, he offers her part of his sandwich since she couldn't eat earlier. For the first time in a long while, Maynham feels relaxed around someone. They laugh, share jokes, and talk easily. But the moment turns bittersweet when she admits she doesn't plan to return to school the next day. Minten firmly declares that he is her friend and begs her to keep coming, even if it's just for him. Later that day, Minten and Zero finally face off like they promised. Tension builds as they exchange insults. Minten mocks Zero for constantly hiding behind his gang, then challenges him to a one-on-one fight. Zero accepts, telling his friends to stay back, and the two clash. Minten throws the first punch, but Zero hits back just as hard. Meanwhile, Maynham is on her way home when she sees the fight unfold. Before it escalates further, the police arrive, forcing the boys to separate. But as Zero walks away, he spots Maynham and suddenly grabs her hand, pulling her along. He drags her to a quiet spot and rips the box off her head. For a moment, he's frozen, stunned by what he sees. But Maynham misunderstands his silence, believing he's horrified by her appearance. The painful memories of her trauma flood back and she collapses unconscious. She wakes up later in a hospital bed without her box. Panic sets in immediately, and the nurses have to give her a mask to calm her down. Her father, Mr. Bond, is crushed with guilt. He apologizes, blaming himself for forcing her into this situation, and promises she can stay home if she wants. But to everyone's shock, Maynham declares that she will return to school to get revenge on Zero for ripping off her box. The next day, Zero sits alone, thinking about her. He can't understand why someone as beautiful as Maynham would ever hide her face. Just then, she arrives and slaps him across the face for what he did. When his minions move toward her, he stops them. He tries to pull off her mask again, but Minten jumps in to protect her. Another heated fight almost breaks out, but Maynham stops them, dragging both aside to talk. By now, the entire school is buzzing with gossip. The boxhead girl has two handsome guys fighting over her. Maynham yells at both of them for making her life even harder. When Minten explains that he just wanted to help, Zero bursts out laughing, convinced that Minten is romantically interested in her just like him. Minton senses Zero's feelings and asks directly if it's true. Flustered, Zero denies it and calls Maenam ugly to cover up his embarrassment. His words slice through her like a knife, dragging her back into the darkness of her trauma. She collapses again, and Minton rushes to help while Zero stands frozen, jealousy burning inside him. The following day, Maenam retreats completely. She locks herself in her room and refuses to speak to anyone. Mr. Bond and Plowin discuss, helplessly, what they can do to bring her back out of this spiral. That's when they hear a voice calling from outside the house. It's Zero, come to apologize. But Plowin angrily refuses to let him in, blaming him for pushing his sister back into her insecure state. The next morning, Minton arrives determined to cheer her up. She refuses to let him in at first, but his persistence wins. She finally opens the door wearing a face mask. To her surprise, he's brought a handmade duck box for her to wear. It's silly, bright, and impossible not to laugh at. He's also made a matching duck helmet for himself. The two put on their goofy disguises and share a lighthearted moment together. They joke about starting a Daft Punk band, but in reality, they just enjoy each other's company over food. Minton gently promises to take care of her and convinces her to give school another chance. The next morning, he even drives her there himself. When Maenam is alone at school, Zero approaches again to apologize. But before he can finish, Plowin intervenes and drives him away. Later during class, a girl named Ozone comes up to Maenam with a favor to ask. A rumor has been spreading around school that Maenam and Zero are dating. Since Zero might listen to her, Ozone begs Maenam to convince him to stop bullying students. Maenam firmly denies any involvement with him and storms off, frustrated. Even during lunch break, people surround her with similar requests, but she turns them all down. Then shocking news reaches her: Zero's friends are beating up Plowin. She rushes over and finds them holding her brother down, fists flying. Zero orders them to stop and claims Plowin started the fight. Furious, Maenam calls Zero out in front of everyone, accusing him of being a thief who bullies weaker students for money and homework. Zero's face falls in shock. He never gave such orders. When Maenam confronts Zero, she pleads with him to stop hurting people. But instead of agreeing right away, he flips the situation. He tells her that if she takes off her box, he'll make a promise to never use violence for personal gain again. It's a risky trade, but with no other way to protect others, Maenam gathers her courage. In a powerful moment, she takes off the box, revealing her face to everyone. The crowd goes silent, completely shocked by her beauty. Later, overcome with emotion, Maenam hugs Minton, tears streaming down her face. She cries that everyone saw her today, her voice trembling. Minton, seeing her face for the first time, is stunned for a brief moment, but he quickly focuses on comforting her. Back home, Plowin excitedly shows her the flood of comments under a picture someone posted of her online. To his surprise, almost every comment is positive, filled with admiration, but even this doesn't fully convince Maenam. Deep down, her insecurities still whisper that she isn't beautiful. As she heads to her room, she notices the window open. Suddenly, Zero appears out of nowhere, asking her to stay quiet. He sincerely apologizes for calling her ugly and admits that she is actually the most beautiful girl he has ever seen. His words linger long after he leaves, echoing in her mind like a song she can't shake. Later that night, she asks her online friend to look at the photo posted on the school page. Her friend gushes, calling her adorable and stunning. Slowly, Maenam begins to believe it might be true. She brings out a mirror, something she hasn't done in more than 3 years, and looks at herself. What she sees shocks her. She's beautiful, truly beautiful. For a moment, she almost can't believe her own eyes. The next day, Maenam walks into school without her box for the very first time. Every head turns. Students whisper and stare, but this time it's not mockery, it's admiration. Though her heart races, she stands tall. Maenam is finally ready to embrace herself and start a new life with a confidence she has never known before. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel.